dissolve a company due to bankruptcy, you file for bankruptcy, and there is one partner who has contributed by reputation. How much is he liable to the cost of?
In all the 5 types, it has to be, very clearly, it has to be defined and decided how much each and every one of the partners is liable in terms of loss and revenues. So if the person who is, offering his reputation for you, let's say that you have decided that he or she will receive 30% of the revenues, or he's liable for the 30% of the losses. Then you file bankruptcy. Then what you have decided, still, even if you're not able to cover up the 70%, the remaining 70%, he or she is only liable for that share. Because this is the agreement. It can't be broken afterwards just because you can't pay. You are liable for what you have agreed upon. Yes? Is it...
It's related.
Okay,
well,
no, it's up to you. For me, it's not a problem.
Yeah, you should continue.
So it's like a personal opinion. In your personal opinion, do you think that there is now like a halal company existing online?
Personal opinion to what?
This question.
Okay. Yes, of course, there is. But since, halal company is a company that is established by two Muslims, and they are dealing, and all conditions and prerequisites are fulfilled, and what they are dealing, the subject is halal. So there are such companies in the Islamic world and even outside the Islamic world. But what we have to take into consideration what the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, that there will come a time in which those who don't take interest will feel the dust of interest. And we live in such days in which interest is unavoidable. You can't avoid it. Because let's say that you have a company with Brother Yasser, for instance, and you buy a new machine. You buy a new machine. Now, once you buy it from a non-Muslim country, from a non-Muslim businessman or company, in the contract, it's stated that if you don't pay within the due time, you will be liable for an interest addition. So, unfortunately, the company in itself is Islamic, is lawful, 100%. But the problem is that since you live within a different economic framework than the Islamic framework, which is the Islamic economic system, such transactions that in a way or another are, contradicting Islam, you will find some contradictions in your transactions. This foundation is halal, 100% halal. But the problem is that you will have some transactions that in a way or another contradicts Islam, unfortunately. But this is the price we Muslims are paying since we don't live in the Islamic state. And this applies even for the Islamic countries, or the Islamic world. You have interest banks there. Even in Saudi Arabia have interest banks. Yes, brother.
Explain. And I was interested in knowing, when you file for bankruptcy and then there are some people who do not, those who have the money pay their part, but the creditors, they still haven't recovered their debt 100%. how does the Islamic State treat these creditors? Do they just lose their money, or?
As I told you, you are liable for in accordance with your share in that company. Now you don't have any money. The company has filed bankruptcy and you don't have any money to pay the creditors. So what shall they do? Well, you can consider it from the point of view of loan. That if you loan a person, if you loan anyone sitting in this room, you loan 100 kronor. And it goes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and he is not paying back. Muhammad, Ismail, give me my money back. I don't have any. Give him more time. You try to give him more time, and months and years pass, and yet, according to Islam, your loan is still valid. Your claim is still valid. So if this person, after 30 years, will be able to pay back your loan, he has to do that. It's not a matter of choice. He has to. Because it is your money that he hasn't paid back. So it's the same with the creditors. The creditors, when they give credit, they are making an economic transaction in which a risk is calculated. Because they know that it's possible that the company files bankruptcy, that this person turns out to be a thief, or whatsoever. But once again, all actions you take in your life have to be related to your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is the guarantee that if you suffer any loss because of a person turning out to be a thief or such a thing, that on the day of judgment you will get your payment. If not in this dunya. Because of course if we're talking about fraudery or such unlawful actions, of course the Islamic State has to involve, in this case, has to take action and bring this person before court and try him. This person has to be tried because he has frauded you. But the problem is that if he or she has kept the money. So by giving a credit or by giving a loan in general, you're taking a risk. But by doing that, by giving a loan, you are at the same time gaining ajr, gaining hasanat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the two aspects, the material aspect and the spiritual aspect, has to be combined and has to stick to your mind in all your actions. Yes. More questions?
No, just maybe one. The reputation, can it be like an institution or company, or it should be a person?
A very good question. The Islamic point of view is that it's allowed for you to join an existing company. So let's say that you are leading an institute, scientific or whatsoever, and I decide to join your institute. Now the problem is that, not the problem, but what we have to take into consideration is that if you're the one running, leading and owning this institute, that means that you don't have a company. I am the person who will join you, and then we can build a company. But if it's both of you running this institute, then you have a company. By adding a third partner is halal in Islam. It's allowed for you to add a third partner. So I don't see any obstacle to why it should be